guys, welcome to my Sega Saturn collection. Alright, so before we begin guys, I'm going to show off the two consoles I have, and we'll do a kind of a side by side here. So, we have the Sega Saturn Model 1. If you notice, the buttons are kind of a oval shape. And you'll notice a difference here in a second, that this is larger. And then we have the Model 2. Alright, round buttons, smaller tray, at least like it looks like it. Anyway, so that's that. There's that. So, pretty cool. Don't really play on the Model 1, I mostly play on the Model 2. So, and then there's a difference between the controllers as well. The Model 1 controller is a little weird, to say the least, and kind of bulky, but they slimmed it down with the Model 2 here. So this one's the one I mostly play on, this one not as much. And then there was a couple other kind of controllers we have here. This is the Nights into Dreams controller. Pretty much specifically made for that game and nothing else. But you can still play any other game with it. And for your fighting fans out there, there's a fight stick for the Sega Saturn as well. So, pretty cool. Alright, with that out of the way, let's get into the games. Okay, up first we have Albert Odyssey. This is probably one of my most expensive Sega Saturn games here. Got it in a deal at Second and Charles a couple years back. And, yeah, really happy to have it. There's some variants with all these working design discs. And anyway, pull out the manual there with that embossment. Very cool stuff that Working Designs did. Still have yet to play this game, but I look forward to trying it out. Next up is Alien Trilogy. So we got Alien Trilogy here. It's complete. Some screenshots there. Got a broken hinge, but no big deal. Up next we have Battle Arena Toshinden Remix.
Bout 1, fight! Oh! Yeah! Oh!
Aurora Revolution!
Oh!
Still have yet to play any of the Battle Arena Toshinden games, but looks like a cool fighter. Crack her open here, see what's inside. Alright, next is loose disc copy of Blackfire.
Fuel levels low.
Picked that up for pretty cheap at Goodwill. One day I'll probably complete it. Next up, we have Bottom of the Ninth.
Fletcher. Now the pitch. High fly to right field. He gets it. At the plate, number 3.
So, obviously a baseball game there. Got a few screenshots there. And it is complete. Most of these don't have the foam, which is sad, but... Next up, we have Bust a Move 2. Obviously, Bust a Move is a addictive puzzle game where you're shooting these bubbles up there and trying to match the colors. And yeah, pretty neat. Alright, next game is Criticom.
Battle.
So another 3D fighter on the Sega Saturn. Some screenshots there. This is probably not the best fighter on the system, but yeah, it's there. Next up, D. So this is like a horror game, kind of point and click, kind of adventure horror game. Pretty unique game. Has a couple of discs there. I think D2 came out on the Dreamcast, but it's pretty cool that I have that complete. Next up, Dark Savior. So yeah, Dark Savior is another role-playing there. It's kind of a action, kind of RPG. Pretty cool, especially that first mission where you're on a timer and there's a different outcome if you don't get there in time. So it's pretty cool. Next up, Daytona, USA. Daytona USA, what a classic game. I remember playing it in the arcades way back in the day. Love this game so much. And the Saturn did a really good job of reproducing that arcade experience, so very cool. Alright, we got Dragon Force. This is another RPG, tactical strategy RPG, as it says on the front, made by Working Designs. Once again, beautiful artwork on this game. Again, with the variety of discs. My hinge is broke, but I can replace that. But there's different variations of that disc. This is an amazing game, I've heard, and I still need to try it out. You can command generals and command armies and promote them and crazy stuff. It's a lot to this game. Next up is Frank Thomas Big Hurt Baseball.
Count is 1 ball, 1 strike, no outs, no one on. Ground ball to short, throws to home.
Another baseball game on the system. Looks actually pretty good for a baseball game on the Saturn. But yeah, that's complete. Next up, The Legend of Oasis. So this is the next RPG on the list here. This is a follow-up to Beyond Oasis on the Sega Genesis, which I still need to get. But this is another kind of action RPG where you're going around defeating monsters. Next up, Machine Head.
So this is kind of a sealed copy here. It's mostly sealed, but yeah, there's some issues in the seal. But looks like a cool action shooter kind of game there. But yeah. Next up, MechWarrior 2. Obviously, this is one very good mech game for the system. It was put out on PlayStation 2, PlayStation 1 as well, and some other systems. Yeah, pretty good game. Next up, Mortal Kombat 2.
Outstanding.
Get over here! Get over here!
Obviously, Mortal Kombat 2 is a classic and is probably one of the best ones. And they made it for Saturn, which made the graphics even more improved. And yeah, awesome fighting game. Next up, Mr. Bones. So this is a highly regarded action or kind of a side-scrolling platforming kind of game. If you know anything about the Saturn, it did 2D very well, and these side-scrolling games are no exception. So this is a game I still need to try out, but I've heard it's really fun but difficult. Next up, Mystaria. So this goes by another name as well, but I can't remember what it was. But this is a grid-based tactical RPG kind of game, and yeah, it's really good. Another one I need to try out. So that is complete as well. All right, we have now NBA Jam Tournament Edition.
Here's the tip.
Alright, so this is pretty much one of the most highly regarded arcade basketball games ever produced, and it's pretty much on every system. And I'm fortunate to have the manual in game for this. Next up is Sega Sports NFL 97. Alright, so Sega Sports, they did a good job of making these sports titles. These football games are no exception. My hinge is broken here, but yeah, pretty cool to still have it. Next up is NFL Quarterback Club. Alright, we have this one also complete in the box here. Another good football game for the Sega Saturn here. And this one even has the foam and insert inside, so pretty awesome there to have that. Next up, Nights into Dreams. Nights into Dreams is one of the best games on the Sega Saturn. It is very cool, and it even uses a special controller that you saw earlier to navigate the environments. Really cool game. Next up is Robotica. This is another of my sealed PlayStation or Sega Saturn games, and it looks to be a cool first-person shooter. Don't know how it plays though because I haven't opened it yet. Next up, Shell Shock.
That's the way to do it, man. What you doing, Jack?
So this is pretty much like a combat first-person shooter, tank shooter kind of game. Pretty neat. Has some good music to it. And I have this one complete. Very happy to have it. Next up, Shining Force 3. Yet another expensive RPG on the system. This is another tactical strategy game RPG on the system, and yeah, it's follow up to the ones on the Genesis. And apparently, we only got one version of this. There was actually, I think, 2 other versions of Shining Force 3 that came out in Japan that we never got here. So maybe one day I'll have to try to get an English translation of those and play it. But yeah, very happy to have this game in the collection. Next up, Shining the Holy Ark. Oh man, what a game this is. This is actually the first role-playing game that I've played and beaten, and the first game I've actually beaten on the Sega Saturn. Love this game, and I enjoyed every moment of it. Even level grinding to get some of the better equipment in the game. This is recommended to me by my friend Fred over there at Bad Company, and this is definitely a really awesome, fantastic RPG. And I look forward to playing more RPGs on the system like this. Alright, next up, Shining Wisdom. So, yet another RPG that we have on the system here. Action RPG, going around the map. Almost like a Zelda-like thing, just navigating, attacking the enemies that are visible on the screen. And we have the game there, manual. Pretty awesome to have this one in the collection as well. Again, another one that I need to play through, but has some beautiful artwork, as you can see in the manual here. Very cool. Alright, next up we have Sonic 3D Blast. Now this game also came out on Sega Genesis. Not everybody's favorite Sonic game. It's not bad, but definitely has a different view of the typical side-scrolling Sonic. But still not a bad game at all. Very happy to have that one in the collection as well. Next up we have Street Fighter the Movie.
Round 1, fight! Sonic move! Sonic move!
So essentially this is the game of the movie that based on the game, which is one of the weirdest things. But anyway, yeah, an okay fighter. I don't think it's as good as like Street Fighter 2, but still happy to have this in the collection. Next up, Retro Cop.
Reload. Reload.
This is a cool light gun shooter for the system. I think it came as a pack-in for when you got a system, so pretty cool to have that. We also have Virtua Cop 2.
It seems my plan's been ruined, but I can at least finish you.
So yet again, it's another. It's a follow-up to Virtua Cop 1, and it's another light gun shooter. It's very reminiscent of the Time Crisis games, so pretty cool. Next up, Virtua Fighter.
Fight! 1.
Ready, go!
So this is another 3D fighter. This was pretty much a launch title for the Saturn, so it's very polygonal, but it's still not a bad fighter. And then we have another extra copy of it here, not for resale, that was included with the system. And then we have Virtua Fighter Remix, which I guess they added some things to this one, but I still have not tried this one out yet. It actually has Virtua Fighter 2 in it, though. Alright, next up we have Virtua Fighter 2.
Ready, go!
So this is the follow-up to the first one, and I'm sure they improved on the graphics there a little bit and some of the mechanics. We got this one complete as well. So I guess I have 2 copies of this now. Now on to the next one, which is VR Golf 97.
That drive, folks, was all about balance. A good lie for the next shot.
So we have a golf simulation game here. Not sure how good it is or not. I haven't played it yet, but from what I've seen, it looks pretty good. Have the foam in there as well, so it's perfectly complete there. Really good shape. Turn that disc around so you can see it better. Yeah, very cool. Looks like a golf ball. Now we have Warcraft 2, Dark Saga.
Yes, sire. Yes. 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 We are under attack. Yes. Yes.
So, obviously, this is the follow-up to the original Warcraft, which is a RTS game. You are building up your units and your structures and tech trees and whatnot, and pretty much trying to conquer the other races that you're fighting against here. So, but very cool. Have this all complete as well. Sure, it's a tech tree in there. Very cool. And next up is Wipeout. Wipeout's a very cool, very fast racing game, futuristic racing, trying to hit the little arrows for speed boosts as you race around, and yeah, very, very cool game, very cool racer on the Sega Saturn. And then the last thing we have here is actually a bootleg, or actually it's like kind of a demo disc. It looks like it's the Sega Saturn import, but it's not actually. It's the Sega Saturn Bootleg 2, which has a variety of different demos and stuff on it. So, pretty cool game.
Alright guys, that is my Sega Saturn collection of 2020. Let me know what you guys think. There's definitely some that I'm missing. I love like the Panzer Dragoon games and stuff for the Saturn, especially Saga, but we'll see about that. But anyway, if you have any games that you recommend or anything that I've shown here that you would recommend, let me know. But otherwise, thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and we will see you later.